and things were going swimmingly well. Until
a little cold weather.
So this is the worst the snow is going to be.
While many of us here on my channel are mountain bikers, all of us can certainly appreciate a good adventure story. And yes, the roots of this do involve mountain bikes. Last year, you saw me publish a handful of videos riding my motorcycle all over Tarnation with a mountain bike perched on the back. And this year, I hope to publish many more of the same type of video. However, you won't see any more videos with my same old Suzuki V-Strom 1000 from last year. After buying it in May, I put 3,000 miles on it and, lucky enough, sold it in September right before winter arrived. Since then, I've been on the hunt for my next bike. Many of you have commented about various other bikes to try and buy, so this is indeed in response to many of your actual suggestions. Thank you. I wanted to try renting some motorcycles before purchasing, so first up was this bike, the beautiful Honda Africa Twin. And without any sort of actual plan as to what to do with the bike, after Logan and I finished up a ride, we had a lucky encounter and met Justin.
They do have grease. I forgot a tent, a sleeping bag, and I'm gonna buy a bunch of burritos. Where should I go?
You want to skate?
Right now?
I might be getting buzzed.
Well, on Sunday, tomorrow night.
Well, yeah, I mean, but this time of year in Arizona. Cave Creek takes Seven Springs Road all the way up to Bloody Basin. You hook a right.
Yeah.
Cool area there. There's a hot spring down in some cane reeds down.
What?
You can camp right there. And then from there, you can go Bloody Basin across, up to Crown King, and you can go all the way to Prescott on Senators Highway.
Oh.
It's all, I mean, this is all dirt.
Yeah.
Once you leave Scottsdale and hit Seven Springs, you're dirt all the way to Prescott.
Wow, that's cool.
So yeah, that's a pretty cool.
Justin's ride sounds absolutely incredible, but unfortunately it's excluding one key element I need to do on this bike.
Ironically, like I really want to ride shitty interstate as well, because back home where I live, I've got 3 hours of shitty interstate to get anywhere fun.
Right.
And to cross the state and get to Idaho, I have 6 hours of shitty interstate, which is why I'm looking at, like I had a V-Strom 1000 last year.
That's what I just sold.
It's terrible on the dirt, but it was fun. It was okay on the road.
I had a V-Strom, a 2018 V-Strom 1000 XT.
Okay.
I sold that and bought my African Twin because I ride from here. Like I can ride from my house all the way to freaking Utah off-road.
Yeah.
It's like, why the hell would I have a V-Strom?
That's right, Justin just got rid of the same motorcycle that I did, and he's ironically riding the same bike that I'll be riding here for my very trip. Furthermore, we both have Suzuki DRZ 400s tucked away in our sheds, so this all meant that
I appreciate it.
his advice could probably be taken pretty soundly.
Dropped Logan off at the airport, and now I'm driving across the Phoenix greater metropolitan area in order to rent this Honda Africa Twin, which is a kind of a dad bike. It's limited to 200 miles, so I'm gonna mostly ride it on some Forest Service roads rather than going huge distance on the interstate.
This right here is the Africa Twin, the daddest of the dad bikes. And in just a moment, I'm gonna take off and ride that way, pretty far up into the mountains, where I'll set up a beautiful campsite with everything but tent stakes, which is what I forgot back home in Bellingham. Many of you have mentioned in the comments that an Africa Twin would be a great motorcycle for the kind of silly adventures I like to do. Today we're gonna find out if that's indeed the case. Time to finish packing. This is always hard. Especially hard when it's out of a suitcase into a suitcase.
This might look pretty silly, but
Went to a taqueria, got 4 of the worst tacos I've had in a long time. And then I was just tired of everything and just wanted to get going, so I just bought a bunch of burritos from the worst taqueria.
Parents out there will appreciate this, but I gotta call Evelina, my daughter, and say hello and good night, and I'll call her again tomorrow when I get cell service.
Hi. And then motoed out. Here we are. Yeah, so very quickly the sun went down around 5:30, 5:45, and I was on a windy paved road, which was super fun on this bike.
so right here, the pavement's turning to dirt. And then it's about 37 miles of dirt, and I get to where I am hoping to camp out for the night. We'll see if A, I actually make it, and B, how it goes.
So the road starts out like real mellow, real chill, and I've got to carefully set up this computer system on the Africa Twin because it will like cut out all the power if the rear wheel starts to slip a little bit. And if you try to use the brakes and the wheel slides a little bit, it'll turn off the brakes. So I got to turn all those nannies off and yeah, kind of ride it like a dirt bike.
Oh great, you got a creek crossing in the dark. Oh, that's a slip. That would have been really cool to film it wasn't dark out.
The brakes don't work very well on this motorcycle. I don't know if they are worn out, contaminated pads, or if they are truly that bad, but I am pretty nervous with how crummy the brakes are. I'm just not going that fast, and that fixes that. So after a long time on this small dirt road, it gets smaller and smaller, and there's creek crossings out of nowhere, and it's totally dark out. The headlight's not very good, so I'm kind of guessing. The road gets narrower and narrower and rougher, and I saw a handful of people out driving. I had to pass only one car. I had to overtake only one car the whole time.
And right now the air temperature is 47 degrees. It's gonna be cold tonight, guys. I keep going up on this road, which is not good. I wanna go over, not up. Baby head.
And things were going swimmingly well until cruising along, minding my own business, and I go through a bump. It's like a dip. It's like knee deep, and I'm probably going, I don't know, 20 miles an hour, not crazy fast.
It just happened. Went through a dip. I didn't tip over. The bike hasn't shut off for over an hour. Well, guess what fell off? My luggage. Complete with my drone.
And out of nowhere, the right side pannier falls off. And I've got all my sleeping gear, my camping gear, my drone, my GoPros, all kinds of stuff in there. And all of a sudden, it's fallen off and is sliding down the road.
There are two aspects of this problem that aren't immediately obvious. So first up, if my sleeping gear gets torn apart, I can actually end up in a somewhat dangerous situation not having a warm place to sleep for the night. The second situation is that if this pannier will not latch back on the motorcycle, I don't have a way to take it with me. I will literally have to sit on the pannier on top of the motorcycle seat, which is, as you can guess, extremely uncomfortable.
Guess what fell off again? Trusty pannier. I'm not going past second gear. Trying to ride this pretty smooth section right here. There's just some water bars. And this thing came right off again.
In 2011, I was on a huge motorcycle tour through Death Valley. Well, at one point, I had to flip my bike upside down because I'd run out of gas and I needed to get gas from the one side of the tank over to the other so I could get back on my way. While doing that, I had pushed my entire motorcycle into the exhaust pipe and that burned a hole through my pannier and through my sleeping bag. It was pretty scary because it was in the 20s that night in Death Valley, and I had to duct tape that sleeping bag up, and it was nowhere near as warm as it should have been. So I'm personally a little bit experienced with having camping malfunctions. Furthermore, having just dropped a $2,000 deposit on this motorcycle, I was also really freaked out that I would get charged $500 or $700 for a new pannier when it was no fault of mine that the thing decided to jump off and take a break from our adventure. In hindsight, it's just one more riddle that needed solving, but at the time, it seemed like a real fiasco.
Hey guys, we're here. Due left is the destination.
So twice, right side pannier has bit the dust on its own. Just jumped overboard. So I've got a situation on my hands here that we'll have to fix in the morning. I found a little piece of trash here in the campsite. It used to be a tie-down strap for someone's ratchet strap. And that might be how we secure that pannier. Maybe it's the one I'm sitting on, one of these two, to this fancy motorcycle.
Yeah, this will work fine. Welcome to camp. Whew, that was a ride. Wow. I am really nervous about that pannier right there.
I forgot my tent stakes. They're back in Washington. Luckily, I found a tree and a motorcycle and a bunch of panniers, and they seem to be doing the job. I love you all. Thank you for joining me. Please hit that red subscribe button down below. It'll help me do more trips like this. It's fun trying new motorcycles. I might not be the best motorcyclist or the best motorcyclist reviewist personist, but I'm having fun doing it. And if you'll watch and hang out and leave me a comment about how much you enjoy coming on these trips vicariously, then I think that'll work to keep this going. Good night, everyone.
Good morning, guys. Let's go ride some motorcycles today. Let's see where we're camped and ride some motorcycles today. I think there's a really cool thing around the corner. Let's check it out.
That's right. This is not Washington. It's not raining. So in the wintertime, I love getting down to the desert to ride my bike on some dry trails and to get some much needed vitamin D. I've been lucky enough to partner with the fine folks over at Element. They make an electrolyte supplement, and it's helped me a lot on these desert trips. One of my favorite things about Element is that I can actually have one in the morning go for a bike ride with one in the water bottle, and then afterwards have one in the evening. I'm actually drinking an Element right now mixed up in my water bottle. And then I don't get the bloody noses. I don't get totally destroyed from the dryness. Element is a simple mix of magnesium, potassium, and sodium. It's a pretty simple formula. It's got a little bit of stevia extract to make it a tad sweeter. So this helps hide that nasty iodine taste of my treated water when on these moto trips. For a limited time, all of us here on my channel can try Element for free. Element's asking $5 to cover the cost of shipping. And to take advantage of that offer, I have got a link pasted in the description box down below. Takes you over to the Element website. I've been enjoying this stuff. I think you will too, and I want to give Element a big thanks for their support.
Let's see where we're camped and what there is to look at around here. My banged up leg, it's all swollen. Africa Twin. Oh.
Whoa.
Yesterday on the motorcycle here was pretty intense. I woke up and got to see my campsite, and it was gorgeous. It was down like in this river bed with this wonderfully soft sandy dirt. There was no snakes or scorpions or poisonous anything. It was totally safe, and it was kind of grassy, so I slept in a pretty comfortable spot. Didn't get the best sleep, but hey, you know, that's okay.
What we got going on here at this pannier that's not threatening to wreck my trip. The renter guy I rented this from showed me that he had wrapped duct tape around the bottom bar to make this fit tighter. So I've done the same now with my Gorilla Tape I happened to bring with me. And this is a tad loose, so I'm gonna try to tighten that up a little with a 4mm.
Man, I had to tie my pannier on with this ratchet strap I found in the ditch, but it worked. I used a trucker hitch to get it nice and tight. I had to go get a gallon of water from the river because I needed water. We're here in Arizona and there's no water here. It rains a quarter inch a year.
This would be a cool spot to camp. You'll notice some of my Troy Lee jerseys have stains on them. It's from the iodine.
I wanted to find this hot spring just to have an adventure on the trip, an adventure that wasn't necessarily a motorcycle adventure. So I woke up out there close to the hot spring, but I wasn't totally sure where the hot spring was. So I had to do a little bit of investigative discovering, exploring to find it. And I eventually found like what looked like a tunnel into a cave. And it was small. Like I was on my hands and knees to crawl through it, and it was totally pitch black dark. And in my motorcycle suit, I'm not very articulate. I can't articulate my arms and legs very well, nor my words. That's a different conversation.
Oh my goodness. There's the hot spring. Wow.
Went down it and eventually got there. There was like a warm, muddy puddle of murky, hot water.
Wow.
Didn't really feel like I should get in it. Didn't really have that like allure to bathe myself in it, but it was cool to have actually found it.
Found it. Not sure I really want to go in there.
Made the ride back. This thing's pretty fun in the dirt. It's been growing on me. It's not the most in control. It's not the most out of control. But the brakes are not very good. And that's frustrating to me because I want to feel like I can slow down in a quick hurry, and I don't feel like that at all. I have to like panic brake hard just to slow down a good amount. For example, at one point a jackrabbit ran right in front of me. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is what's gonna kill me. I was going fast, like 55 miles an hour or whatever on a flat Forest Service road. And I thought, should I grab the brakes? And then at the last second, I'm like, you know what? On my other motorcycles, I could probably slow to like 20 if I'm gonna hit this animal. Then I probably won't die if I crash. On this motorcycle, I can't slow down that much. So I'm gonna hold on and give it a little bit of gas and be accelerating. And somehow that jackrabbit went right behind me and I didn't hit it, thank goodness, because that could have been a bad moment.
Coyote just crossed right in front of us.
But once I got through to the top of the hill, got cell service, checked in with everyone, talked to my daughter for a moment, that was great.
That's the top of the hill, cool.
Decided that I would try to do the next portion of the ride on this really cool backcountry route, the Senator Highway. And so this highway is like pretty well known amongst like motorcyclists, I guess. It's supposed to be like a common, you know, big bike route from to Prescott from like right where I'm sitting actually. Just got an amazing cup of coffee at Circle K. First caffeine of the day. Still have 3 hours, 52 minutes of riding to go. So I went for it and things were great. It was super smooth and mellow. The dirt was amazing. And I was having a lot of fun. And actually, you know, like this bike was great for that.
All I see is just like road and then nothing. It's pretty neat. Like pretty beat up from doing the road this morning and last night. But this road right here is pretty fun. Very easy.
And then I got to a muddy section and I'm like, oh, no big deal. I can get through a little bit of mud.
All right, I'm a little nervous because it's a little muddy over here, but just gonna go real slow and try to take the hard path. I mean, this line. Really don't want to return this bike all dirty, but so far the mud hasn't been a big deal. This is by far the muddiest part of the ride. It's going real easy.
There's more and more and more muddy sections and creek crossings. It was never like ridiculous mud, like it wasn't out mudding or anything like that. But yeah, and then I noticed the mud was on the north-facing slopes, and that quickly turned to snow.
Well, I'm at pretty high elevation, and it's not cold, it's 60 degrees out, but the north-facing slopes all have a little bit of this white stuff. And then where it's melted, that freeze thaw, that creates this pretty gooey mud.
So I'm like, well, this is a little bit of snow. I can get through this, is no problem. And it looked like other people had gone through too.
But luckily, it's warm enough. It's 61 degrees that the snow is slushy. So I'm getting down to the mud underneath, not just the ice. So this is the worst the snow is going to be.
But then the snow got a lot longer in a couple sections and a lot deeper. And simultaneous, I'm looking out and there's like no snow anywhere but the road surface. It's because the road's on the north-facing side and the way it's bench cut, it's in the shade all day. And then the snow sections got really long and it was icy.
I'm also extra worried because this is a very expensive motorcycle. $15,000 for reals. This is why I've never considered an Africa Twin. Seriously, it's way beyond my budget.
This is a heavy motorcycle, and when it starts sliding, there's not much like, heads up, I'm gonna slide, buddy. It's just, starts sliding. And so I had 3 moments where I would slide like, 30 feet. Just fully, just balancing, feathering the clutch, a little bit of throttle, like careful with the brakes, and just trying to let it slide controlled. And then once it would hook up, didn't want to panic. Man, it was so puckering. But I got to the point where I was like, I can't turn around because I've gone up enough snow sections that going down those is going to be really sketchy. And it looks like I was close to the top of the hill, so I kept going. And eventually did get to the top of the hill, and somehow there was a heavy equipment site. And so they'd driven their heavy equipment over the snow, and that had broken it up, and that made it a little bit easy.
Definitely, I'm puckered. I'm very puckered. Got my ABS off. Now it's time to come down this mountain in the snow. Oh boy.
If you've ever ridden a motorcycle in the snow, you'll understand that it's a little bit easier to safely get up it than to come back down it, especially when on a 500-pound loaded touring bike with Australian-designed street tires. Yes, that's right. These tires are built for riding in the outback, in definitely the dry. Physically, I wasn't worried about getting hurt or anything like that, but I was very concerned about that $2,000 deposit I just put down on this motorcycle. If I were to tip over and slide on this motorcycle, it would probably slide a very long distance at a very high speed, and if it goes over the embankment, fishing it out would be a very big project, something that I did not really want to deal with.
Oh. Too much sliding.
In hindsight, that would have been a very expensive mistake, but it probably would have made for a great video, so there is always that.
See how snowed and iced the road is here.
Videos never convey how technical something actually is, but if this road was sketchy enough that a Toyota 4Runner, one of the most capable SUVs ever built, couldn't make it, well, I think I can at least rest my case on that right there.
Got through all of that without dropping the bike. Whew, man, that was gnarly. Well, got into Prescott, took the highway up and over Mingus Mountain, and had a lot of fun on this bike on that twisty backcountry road. The Africa Twin is great on like twisties. You got enough clearance, you can really lean it over pretty far in the turns. And then the motor is a blast. Like the dirt road stuff was usually second gear, once in a while third. And then the twisties were like third and fourth gear. But the motor can like it's got such a wide range of power compared to the V-Strom, where it's this tiny little, right off the bottom, grunty thing. This thing is like, it's got not much grunt on the bottom, but then this super healthy and long mid-range. And then up top, it's like pretty powerful, and it's not ever been too scary fast. So yeah, getting over Mingus Mountain was actually a lot of fun. And then, yeah, I'm just boogieing right now back down to Phoenix and Scottsdale. We need to find a car wash and wash this thing because it's really dirty right now, and I can't return it dirty like that. So I'm gonna go clean this thing up and return it in good shape.
All right, looking pretty good. Done before my time's up.
If you guys are enjoying this little mini adventure, hit the subscribe button, leave me a friendly note in the comments below, because I'd like to do more of these. And if I can wrap this into doing YouTube videos, then that's really, really, really cool. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. I want to be careful and get down the hill in one piece, so let's do it. Ride safe, everyone.